Okay, here we go.
Nice.
All right, we're back. Happy New Year, everybody. Let's dive right into it. Hey, the question I know that is on everybody's mind to start the year: did the San Francisco Giants already get eliminated from 2024 postseason contention? Is the season already over?
They are what they are, and
on January 1st. You know, some days it sure as heck seems like it. Hopefully not. We'll dive into what little news there is on the free agency and baseball world. We'll dive into some baseball prospects, some guys that I've actually seen in person, some guys who have some big years coming up. So we'll touch on 3 Giants prospects.
Cheers.
But let's get right into it. MLB trade rumors. They've got the tracker of each team's free agent spending so far. And hey, look, it's been very one-sided, unfortunately, for the Giants. Not so much that they didn't, that they didn't land the guys they wanted, Ohtani and Yamamoto, maybe some others, but the fact that those guys went to the Dodgers. The Dodgers have spent a total of $1 billion, but supposedly through some deferrals and all kinds of random stuff, some of these guys are Ohtani's making the equivalent of minimum wage, apparently. No. The Phillies spent $172 million on Aaron Nola. It wouldn't touch that contract. The Diamondbacks have re-upped a couple guys. $80 million for Eduardo Rodriguez. Gurriel got $42 million. Seems fairly reasonable there. And then the Giants come in at number 4, shockingly. So you can bet some other baseball fan bases around the country are equally frustrated as the Giants fan base appears to be.
Man, see, I can't find it.
We spent $121 million. Jung-Ho Lee, 6 years, $113 million. We talked about him on yesterday's show. Look, the jury's still out on whether that'll be a good deal or not. I think he's got to hit first or second in your lineup. And I guess there's a scenario where he hits third, fourth, or fifth. I don't think, that's where he projects. More of a contact guy, gap to gap kind of guy. Not somebody that's probably going to jack a whole lot of home runs. But he's got some speed. He's won the equivalent of the Gold Glove over there in the KBO League, which again is not, I don't have the KBO League fired up on my Roku device over here. But 6 years, $113 million if he's able to hit first or second in your lineup, play solid defense at any of the 3 outfield spots, I'm totally fine with. And that'll end up looking like a bargain if he's able to play at a competent level. Tom Murphy, 2 years, $8.25 million, backup catcher, totally fine with that. Obviously, the writing on the wall for former top Giants prospect Joey Bart. Is he a trade candidate? Will he just have to get DFA'd? Are we going to get anything from him? Seems like the Giants have quite a few trade candidates on this roster, whether it's some of the excess pitching that you might have, some of the depth you might have there, some of the younger players maybe you could package for something. Obviously, Joey Bart. We'll get into Matt Chapman in a minute, but if you do indeed, for whatever reason, decide to sign Matt Chapman, what does that do to Casey Smith's role with the team, the future with the team, and obviously J.D. Davis, who I think has only got 1 more year left on his deal. The outfield spots, obviously, I think, several trade candidates could develop throughout the year or are already trade candidates.
the scotch is very flavorful.
Whether it's Yastrzemski, whether it's Slater, whether it's Ramos, whether it's Conforto, whether it's Haniger, whether or not you can get anything for these guys, Lord only knows. But the Giants so far have shelled out the 4th most bucks in free agency. I, for one, am not too terribly excited. I actually hope they rein it in from here. MLB Trade Rumors also ran a poll. Where will Matt Chapman sign? And the Giants are first with over 2,000 votes, 35%, chiming in that the Giants will indeed sign Matt Chapman. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Cubs coming in second, Blue Jays, Yankees. Concerns me a little bit. I mean, what are the options that the Blue Jays have at third base? And they're not interested in bringing him back more seriously. One good thing about Chapman the last few years is he has been healthy. 150 games, 155 games, 140 games in the last 3 seasons. Obviously, the shortened COVID season in 2020 and the 2 years prior to that with the A's, he was healthy. He's been healthy most of his career. Batted .240, 17 home runs, very good defense at third base. But I do not want to see this guy in a Giants uniform if it comes at a cost of a 5-year, 6-year deal at big money. It makes no sense to me that a guy who's going to start the year at age 31 doesn't seem like he fits the timetable of some of the other players you have on the team.
2 + 2 = 4.
A Luis Matos, who's 21 years old. You have a catcher who's 24 years old, who's going to get a lot of playing time. Marco Luciano could start next year at 22 years old. Seems like this is a team that wants to get younger. Jung-Ho Lee, 25, 26 years old. I haven't checked his birth certificate, but he's on the right side of 30. This type of signing, unless it comes at a 1 or 2 year deal, makes absolutely no sense to me. Tremendous defensive third baseman, but I don't know if that was really our problem last year. Was defense at third. Maybe defense overall was a big problem for the Giants, but I don't know if defense at third was a huge problem. J.D. Davis, I haven't looked at the stats, haven't dorked out over those, but he probably was about league average at third. So I hope the results of this poll don't come true. I hope Matt Chapman signs elsewhere. Again, unless it's on a 1 or 2 year deal, then I'm fine with it. 3, 4, 5 year, 6 year deal at $30 million a year. No, I don't want any part of that. So we'll see where he ends up.
Scotch and cheesecake is a really nice combination.
Let's talk about some prospects. Some guys, hey, a lot of you probably haven't seen, and a lot of us maybe will never see because they'll either get traded or not make it up. But let's dive into a couple of guys. I have seen this very young man. He's 20 years old, Diego Velasquez, play for the San Jose Giants last year. I saw him play in several games. The thing that's very encouraging about this guy, he's only 20 years old, 6'1", 150 pounds. If you can believe it, he seems probably even a little smaller than that. But he does have an advanced hit tool. To be 20 years old in the Cal League and take 426 at-bats and draw 56 walks and only strike out 82 times, that is a very good ratio. That's very impressive. He hit .298. 8 home runs, 69 RBIs. Look, he's 6 feet, 150 pounds. He's going to have to get physically stronger. That's going to be the key to his career because he has a good approach. He has a solid idea what he's doing up there at 20 years old, playing, above his level. Career only 147 strikeouts, 93 walks, and 789 at-bats. I love those ratios. Only 9 home runs. Right. The slugging percentage is a little light at 362. So he's going to have to get physically stronger, but he's only 20 years old. So some positive signs there. They've been playing him at second base. That's where I saw him play on his MLB.com profile. They have shortstop, second base. I don't know. I don't know if the arm's strong enough. I don't know if the lateral quickness is there. That's not something I saw. The strongest tool that he had was kind of his bat to ball skills, being able to make contact. And at times, very solid contact. I think I saw one of these home runs. I saw a few of these doubles. So he's going to have to become average or competent at second base, in my opinion. I don't know if there's another spot for him. Perhaps an outfield spot. But you'd like to see him develop on the infield. And he's a guy to watch. He's probably a guy who's going to advance either to A+ or AA. And if he can continue these trends of not striking out a lot, having solid contact levels, hitting .298, he's a player to watch. So improve the defense at second, become confident to average at second, and he's going to have to hit the weight room, maybe call up our boy Barry Bonds.
Or you can see it on TV,
and get physically stronger. A guy who doesn't have to worry about kind of being physically strong and looking the part is our first-round pick from 2022, Reggie Crawford. 6'4", 235, age 23. When I saw him at the Arizona Fall League, he didn't look 6'4". He maybe looked like 6'2". I know that's kind of splitting hairs there. Bats left, throws left. Hey, he's one of these guys that they have doing both. Kind of a dual-way player, kind of Ohtani light. Hasn't taken that many at-bats in the minor leagues, only 36 at-bats. Pretty poor performance so far, 14 strikeouts, batting 194. I think he took 70 at-bats in the Arizona Fall League. That's where I saw him play. You can actually, on this YouTube channel, I think I put together a complete game of all his at-bats. I think he smacked a single. I think he drew a walk. But the results were pretty bad for the Arizona Fall League. I think he hit sub 200 in 70 at-bats, a couple home runs. When he does make contact, I mean, look, he's kind of a big, strong guy. He does hit the ball hard. But his strength is his left-handed pitching skill. I mean, the guy throws mid-90s, got some kind of secondary pitch in 19 innings, career innings in the minor leagues. And hey, that is an ultra small sample size. He has 32 strikeouts. I believe he's coming off Tommy John when the Giants drafted him in the first round of 2022. He was coming off of Tommy John. So he's really coming back slow with the pitching, which to me is his absolute strength and is what is going to get him to the major leagues. Now, whether they see him as a starter or more as a reliever, he could make it up next year as a left-handed specialist and could project as a future closer. That's how dominant and good his stuff is from the left side. I mean, if you can throw mid to high 90s with some kind of average secondary pitch, you're more than likely going to make the major leagues. And then your success is going to be determined on how hard you work in your other pitches that you're able to develop. So he's a guy who could move fast, especially if he ditches the batting. Lifetime 235 hitter or lifetime 194 hitter over 36 at bats. So if he ditches the batting and he just sticks to pitching, this is a guy who could move fast. And if they're developing him as a reliever, he's somebody we could see rather soon.
I do think we can always be improving our processes and our practices.
Another guy maybe we could see soon, 23 years old, former third-round pick, 2019, Grant McCray. This was a guy who was kind of left open because he wasn't on the 40-man roster, so he could have got taken in the Rule 5 draft by somebody. Now, that team would have had to put him on their major league roster for the entire year or offer him back to the San Francisco Giants. So for a guy who hasn't played above A+ level, even though he's one of the Giants' better prospects, certainly better outfield prospects, wasn't likely that he was going to get taken in the Rule 5 draft, and he didn't. So the Giants retain his rights. Going to be back with the team. You saw what he did last year, 255, 14 home runs. If I recall correctly, he started off really slow, which I think can happen up there in Eugene. I think it's a little cold. It's a little wet. The facilities around there maybe a little tough from what I've heard. Little cold, little rainy, little hard to get adjusted to the play there. But I think he closed the year pretty strong. You can see big time strikeout rate, much different than our boy Diego Velasquez. Our boy Grant McCray struck out 171 times in 494 at bats. So he's going to have to cut that down significantly if he ever wants to play at the higher levels of baseball. But career 272 hitter, 41 home runs, 119 stolen bases. So he's a guy that's athletic, 6'2", 190. Bats left. He's an athletic dude. Gets on base. He's going to run. Probably one of the more athletic guys in the entire Giants farm system in terms of speed, potential power combination. You saw what he did in 2022 in San Jose. I probably saw some of these games. 291 average, 21 home runs, 35 stolen bases. That's a heck of a year. He was probably one of the better outfielders in the Cal League in 2022. So he's a guy that we certainly shouldn't give up on. I think last year, you take into account the slow start, he's probably going to move on to Double-A. The guy who could potentially see AAA this year. And you never know. You saw with Luis Matos last year. If you start hitting 400 in the minor leagues with some power, with how many guys get hurt over on the Giants seemingly every other day. I mean, probably while I'm doing this podcast, somebody dropped, a piano bench on their toe and is going to be out for the year. So he's a guy at 23 years old who got exposed to the Rule 5 draft last year or this year. The Giants might look to move quick on. So we will see what happens with him. We'll be doing this over the next few podcasts where we'll go over some different prospects. Some of these guys I've seen, some of these guys I'll have to do a little research on, do a little bit of reading, look into the stats a little bit. I've been fortunate enough. I did see Diego Velasquez probably playing about, 5-6 different games at least. And I remember specifically kind of keeping my eye on him and his at bats. And they had him batting at the top of the order. Super young guy, 20 years old. So some projection there. And to me, he's just got to get physically stronger. He's got to get into the gym with Barry Bonds, and we got a real shot there. Reggie Crawford, I'm excited about. I'd have to do a little bit more reading. Do they project him as a starter or a reliever? To me, I would just throw the hitting out the window. Let's is this guy going to be a starter or a reliever? If he's going to be a reliever, he could possibly be in the bullpen. If he can control 2 pitches, he could be in the bullpen ASAP. That's how good his stuff is from the left-handed side. And McCray, huge year for him. Professionally, personally, this is a huge year for him. Kind of a make it or break, not really a make it or break it year, but we're getting there with him. He's going to have to get himself on the 40-man roster. That's probably, a first goal of him, and then get up to the show. But lots of steps before we get to that point, and we got lots of steps before we get to the Major League Baseball season. Will the Giants sign Matt Chapman? Will they sign Blake Snell? Who else is an option? Is Joey Bart going to get traded? Are we trading some of this pitching scrap that we have? Can we get anything for it? Can we get anything for these outfielders that we have? Lord only knows. But we'll be here to cover it. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button if you've hung with me this whole time, and we will see you later.
Nice.
That was